date is January 20th, 2022. Just on my way home, and you can see who just showed up there. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. Who would have thought, right? And yeah, same old things going on. The stalkers from the fire department appearing on site all the time and constantly. Yeah. Come up to Walmart to get some groceries, and across the street there you can see the police show up. This is January 21st, 2022, and yeah, I've just come outside. Of course, they'll never miss an opportunity to show up wherever I am, so you can see them over there supposedly having pulled this guy over, but this is all for show, actually. If you've seen enough of this, you know that this is all for show and that this is what they do. So and this is mainly to kind of I believe it's just to kind of deter you from wanting to go anywhere, and just, you know, as a target they want you to isolate and whatnot. So they pull these silly little things that they do, and we'll see over here. So they've got this vehicle here, knowing fully well that when I exited where I was, that I would see them. So, and this is not the Toronto police. This is the police for an area slightly north of the city. So as you can see, they do it with all of them, right? So, but yeah, so just coming out to pick up a few things, pick up a few groceries on January 21st, and the police show up directly across from my location. And again, it's a subtle threat. And here he comes out, yeah. Supposedly writing a ticket, but it's all done so that I'll see it, right? I mean, we've seen enough of this to know that this is all for show. So, and they're doing this to a lot of people too, right? It's not just me. It's going on all around. So, and here too, I mean, this area here, this is an area where you very seldom see the police. Like, as I said before, when I lived in this area from around 2014 to 2016, I never once saw a police car in 2 years. And now, having returned here, there was one day when I saw 3 of them all in the same area near a side street. And now, of course, having gone out to get groceries here, I come out and there's immediately this fake staged thing going on here. And you can see this guy here. It's totally staged. And they know that that I will see it, right? Because of where I exited. So, yeah, this is what they do. And this, as I said, different police, not even the Toronto police. So you can see they're all controlled. And they use them all to follow around targeted people. And yeah, this is what they do here. So, just want to see how long this little act is going to go on here. Let's see here. Yeah, because I exited from here, and immediately it was positioned obviously so that the first thing that I would see when I come out is the car there, right? So again, a subtle threat, and a threat that you're being watched, despite having committed no crime, despite being a law-abiding citizen. So this tells you very clearly who these people are, how corrupt they are, and yeah, it's very obvious what's going on here. And he'll probably wait until I start walking the other way. I'm just interested to see if he's going to move on, or if he's just going to wait until I go. I suspect he probably wants me to just go the other way, and then he's going to leave. But it looks like he's done the whole fake thing with writing this guy a ticket. This is one of the people who works for them, as you know. Like, they have a whole bunch of people who've been enlisted to partake in these activities. So they also will go along with these little skits that they do, be a part of these skits to enable this type of thing to go on. And yeah, they're enablers of this activity. And it's obvious they're paid for this stuff too, right? But let's see how long he lingers here, because he's already done supposedly what he has to do. But realistically, we know what this is, right? So I usually would have the spy camera glasses on, but actually, okay, here goes the car now. Usually I would have the spy camera glasses on, but they're sunglasses, right? So it's getting kind of dark here. So I just used the phone instead for this one. But yeah, definitely some silly staged event here. And there he goes, right? He did his thing, and yeah, he moves on. So, oh yeah, a little beep too. Little beep for the camera, officer. Nice. And also, as I had previously mentioned, the reason I haven't uploaded material for quite some time is because, well, first of all, I moved. And when I was in the process of leaving the place where I was at, fortunately had a very good friend of mine who was there for me, and I stayed at this place for a while, well, like a week, just so I could get a new place, because the place where I was at, obviously before, yeah, total disaster. You had people there who were just psychopaths, and obviously they were part of the whole stalking thing. So was able to you know, it's very important as a target to have good friends who you can rely on, and fortunately I have some good close friends who I've known for many years, and this guy was just amazing. So he helped me out by letting me stay there for a week, and then I was able to move back to an area where I had previously lived back in 2014 up until around 2016. So that's where I am now. And another reason why I hadn't uploaded for quite some time was because throughout much of December, yeah, the reason I hadn't uploaded for a lot of time was also because they had I wouldn't say they'd cut it off, but they'd minimized the activity a great deal with regards to the first responders showing up all the time. I think it may have been becoming a little too obvious, because it was always in that same area, right? So they minimized that a great deal for a large portion of December, and so there was no material to put up anyway, because obviously the most important thing for me is focusing on their involvement in it. I'm not gonna waste people's time by filming somebody wearing a red shirt or doing those hand gestures, because as I've said, that's useless, and they use that to try, they want you to film that so that they can discredit you, right? So if you really want to do some good with regards to exposing these things, show the consistent patterns of these corrupt people in law enforcement and the fire department and you know, the first responders, because again, as I know it's a bit of a cliche, I've said this before, but without their involvement, the legitimacy of the operation to some extent comes apart, right? And of course, they also need these people who they've paid, and there's a lot of them who they've paid off with some sort of deal to kind of also work in unison with the police in terms of, you know, backing them up on these things. Because if the police were behaving in this corrupt manner and they didn't control a huge percentage of the population, that also would be a problem, right? So it works in unison. It's all connected. And so, but yeah, so that material there wasn't much material to show with regards to them showing up all the time for a large part of December, although around Christmas it kind of started again, but not, and now it seems to be back on what it was previously. So it's interesting because I'm in a totally different area now again. So I moved again back to a place where I had previously lived. Fortunately, I have a really good landlord there, and I knew him since that time, and I was able to get a hold of him and have moved back there. So again, though, this is where I am, and they're doing these things here too, right? So yeah, it's interesting because yeah, like so there wasn't much material throughout a lot of December to show with regards to these corrupt people and their constant following and stalking, or their little skits that they put on, right? So a lot of time, in order to legitimize the stalking, they have to put on these little skits that make you think they're actually attending to something, like that guy, like what I just showed there, right? I have no doubt that was just some staged thing. So again, and I mean, just look at, like, utilize basic logic. How many times is the average person going to see these emergency response vehicles and the police regularly? Like, especially when you're in all different areas, right? Like, I've already gone over that, and it's so obvious what they're doing. And, you know, it's quite apparent that they seem to be comfortable doing this, or maybe they're not all comfortable doing this. I mean, maybe there's some of them that think, wow, this is stupid, but, you know, we've got to pay the mortgage or whatever it may be. And, you know, like, we all have to get by, but I mean, you've got to have a little bit of a conscience, right? I mean, that's the thing, is that's what's mind-boggling, is don't any of these people have a conscience with regards to what they're doing? Like, it's very troubling to think. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump on the bus here, but yeah, that's all for now.